inning, center fielder number 37, Megan Delgadillo.
What an inning that we saw just in from Oklahoma State. Their ability to get out of a very, very tough jam. I'm sure there was a little bit of remembrance of the game that just happened right before. Very similar, but very, very different outcomes. Getting Northern Colorado to leave the bases loaded with no outs, being able to get out of the jam. Again, not a single run scored. That is big for them. And if I'm Oklahoma State, the moment we got into the huddle and we were talking and saying, okay, what is the game plan? First thing that pops up in my head for Oklahoma State, be aggressive, cause chaos, have slaps, have bunts, push the limits, see what this defense can do. Is the speed of Delgadillo. Her ability to put this ball in no man's land. You can see there was an effort, there was an attempt, but with her speed, if you are not on the jump right away immediately, there is no shot.
Number 9, Gia Warsaw.
Back-to-back bunts right there. Just talked about Oklahoma State pushing the button. That is what they do so well. That is what causes chaos, and it is not overseen by me. There is a lack of communication. There's a lack of movement right there from that trio, pitcher, catcher, third baseman. So being able to converge on it and quickly, that's going to be the key. Otherwise, especially looking at this defense, I would continue to do it as Oklahoma State.
Back-to-back bunt singles. Nicole, you called for chaos. Well, how about that? Delgadillo's going to come home. The Cowgirls create chaos, and they take the lead.
I love chaos. I love whenever things get crazy, and you can see Delgadillo talking, telling her, this is how I saw this pitch. This is what we're doing. And Bears with the miscommunication over at third.
Amanda Hassler and company giving a gift. So literally right after Nicole said, yeah, I'd like to see him maybe bunt. See what they can do with that. Bunt single, ball sails into the grass, and an early lead for Oklahoma State. Wilming pounding the zone. She starts her second straight nightcap here. Went 5 against Louisiana Tech about 24 hours ago. The Bulldogs got to her a little bit towards the end of that outing. Right now, the Cowgirls are challenging her. Looper getting back, but not in time. How about the quick reactions at the hottest of corners by Walling?
Great recovery by Walling. Also, there's some miscommunication from her earlier, but the ability to snag this ball and get back before that runner, who was only 2 or 3 steps off the bag. Huge play for her team, huge relief for her pitcher. Anna Wilming being able to go, okay, 2 outs, nobody on, just one more to deal with.
The all-5 double play and a massive turn for Walling. Godwin getting out of the way. This will be the familiar part of the 9 for those who've watched Oklahoma State to this point. Godwin and Rosie Davis. Then the new names start in earnest. Lexi McDonald's the starter in right field today. Talon Edwards is still the same. Audrey Schneidmiller getting the catching nod, and Bloodworth returns as well. So Delgadillo is the only returning starter from game 1 to game 2 in the outfield. The infield is more or less the same, except Schneidmiller will relieve Hassler. So she's gonna have to put the catcher strain for the second game in a row. Godwin walks it out.
Now batting second.
We've seen her do both. A lot of patience at the plate. She plays as an athlete who is far, far mature. You can see the cognition. You can see the aggressiveness. And honestly, the way the ball flies off of her bat, you can't leave anything too close over the middle of the plate.
About 3 base runners, and this is the first ball that's leaving the infield, though it's perfectly read by Chacon. And that closes the frame, but not before the ball squirts to the outfield, and Oklahoma State takes advantage. That's what the Bulldogs did against them. Turnabout, fair play for OSU.
The Bears, nothing.
Evening. Already had some excitement. We had bases loaded, got out of that jam. Oklahoma State coming back-to-back bunts, a double play. It's making out to be a good nightcap for the game.
No reason to expect anything different between these two preseason favorites in their respective league. Quinn Myers-Lenz returning to the starting lineup, and Katie Coots returning to the circle.
Coots got into a little bit of trouble back in the first inning, fell behind counts often. If I'm her, my goal, get ahead. That is my goal for all of these batters that I face in these next 2 innings. I want to establish inning 1, that was a fluke. You guys got lucky, but I'm gonna be going and attacking the zone.
Top shelf from Myers-Lenz.
Good pitcher's pitch there by Coots, just getting that hitter to want to chase after that, slightly out of the zone. And again, that outside pitch to lefties. Always a tough one with 2 strikes.
Sliding over and making the play. Bloodworth has been comfy on this dirt.
That just a lot of speed, and knowing that, you could see how quick that ball was released. Not giving too much hesitation, but Bloodworth just doing a good job. Clean field.
We've seen Jazzy Longo get 1 at bat here in Puerto Vallarta. Now we will see a second. For Bloodworth, comfort's going to be the name of the game. It's her first time in a little while playing without Lexi Kilfoyle. The 2 of them together at Alabama, and they come together from Tuscaloosa to Stillwater. Now, of course, Lexi Kilfoyle, #1 pick in the draft.
We've been seeing a lot of that, not just with Oklahoma State, but with all of these teams here in Puerto Vallarta, and then all of the teams across the country. A lot of new faces, a lot of transfers.
Top shelf, Coots. We talk about comfort. She's cruising here in the second.
Love how she has settled in and really set a tone. She's been working up in low in the zone. You'll see predominantly lower in the zone, but every once in a while, whenever you pop that ball up, hitters are not expecting it, and it looks so good. It's hard to ignore.
Now batting shortstop, #2, JC.
Andert watches ball 1. The good news, too, is it's not like Lexi's totally out of touch here. She's a grad assistant with this team. They were all together when she got the announcement she would be the #1 pick. Her and Cheyenne Factor, a pair of Cowgirls on staff for Kenny Gajewski, keeping it in the family.
Yeah, I remember watching that video a few times. Just the support from her former teammates. You love to see that celebration. And a win for pro softball is a win for college softball, is a win for softball players everywhere.
Softball players everywhere is exactly right. That's a Tampa kid getting drafted 1.1. Ordinarily, you think of the power in California, Arizona, your traditional softball hotbeds. That's not to say that everyone thinks, you know, Florida is some slap, but this game is growing absolutely everywhere. Look at Godwin, perfect example, the North Carolina product, one of the best young players in our game.
Northern Colorado just a little bit quieter from that first inning. Not necessarily because of the walks, but just the energy has settled. Everybody's gotten in touch.
Coots fielding her position. For the first time in 2025, Katie Coots faces the minimum, 1, 2, 3, and it's just her second inning of work. She had to work for it. That's the job. Coots cruising. Cowgirls come right back to the batter's box, starting with 6, 7, and 8. And Lexi McDonald makes her initial entry as a starter. One at bat so far on the season. She'll watch an off speed.
Anna Wilming able to toss that off speed in at any time, at any count. That is what makes her dangerous.
I feel like we've seen that, and I guess it can't be that surprising because there's so many good pitchers in this tournament, but like a filthy changeup routinely coming in, buckling hitters. That's been pretty consistent across the great arms in the circle.
And that's one of the things I remember hearing a lot as I was in high school going to college. That's one of the things I hear coaches in college whenever they're recruiting or they're talking about getting transfers. Do they have an off speed? Do they have a changeup? That is so important. Being able to throw it, like you said, at any point, that having that command over that pitch, it makes a hitter have to second guess, have to pause, or at least in the back of their head know that that's a threat. You can make them doubt just for a second. You got him.
And it works right there. Take a little gas off, velo in, velo out. Easy play for Myers-Lenz.
This one just slightly elevated, but in on the hands. It's honestly the off speed that really offsets that pitch, because if that one is normal speed hard, that gets hit hard, right? But throwing off the timing, that's where she thrives.
Punt flashed here by Challen Edwards, nothing more.
Wilming, she wanted that pitch. A little bit of frustration, the ball into the glove. That was just a little low.
That's been another consistent trend that we've seen. The umpiring has been great, as it always is here in Puerto Vallarta, but the pitchers are so good that the black is, you're riding it the entire way, the very edges of those strike zones, the controversy points. Flutter off speed, perfect.
Nice adjustment there by Wilming, bringing that up. Eliminating that short game option from Edwards. The biggest thing, I would expect to see a lot more short game from not just Edwards, but the Cowgirls as this game continues to go on, was the fact that every time they bunted, there was no defender in sight.
Edwards, skies, no problem, Chacon. Yeah, they had the bunt barrage to open the game. Now instead, Wilming's retired 3 in a row.
This one, Edwards just gets underneath it. I feel like that was the trend last game. Going into this game, talking about adjustments, talking about what can we do to get back into our groove, our rhythm. One of those things, creating chaos, making things happen. But the second is making those adjustments. A lot of fly balls from Oklahoma State last game. We're seeing a few more this game. Can you keep it on the ground? Make Northern Colorado's defense work.
Schneidmiller tried to go 5-6, walled off by Walling. And it's 1-2-3, immediately followed by 1-2-3. Both pitchers settling in. We go to the third. Routine defense. Staying that way.
University of Northern Colorado, nothing.
Way here on Flow, this the end of our second day of 3. We'll have a 6-team loaded buffet in the second session of this tournament, plus 3 more tomorrow. And then, of course, the softball Super Bowl in the pre-conference slate. Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic, just 2 weeks away. You and I will get the chance to see Nebraska in that tournament 2 weeks from now. And it was this time last year, Nicole. You and I were on the call. Jordy was right here and just suffers that unfortunate injury, never gets back. And now she playing last night, goes yard, dominates in the circle. When you see a player come back from injury like that with the monumental expectations that come with being Jordy Ball, you can't help but smile.
Huge upset over Tennessee. We just saw one ourselves. Tech, the massive upset against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State now playing their second game of the day. Like I said, it's anybody's game. Nobody knows who's supposed to win, what's supposed to happen. The game doesn't know.
Miley Morales looking to prove just that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about watching softball, playing softball, commentating on softball is you really never know. You can make your predictions, you can put in your practice, you can watch all the film, do all the prep work, but whenever it comes down to it and it's game time, it's your team versus my team, and who's going to compete, who's going to step up in those big moments. And I love those moments. I live for them. And I know a lot of these athletes here this weekend, they do as well.
Katie Thompson's going to come in and run for Miley Morales. Yeah, there's probably no sport where any one individual game is the most random. You know, the saying for football is any given Sunday. Sure. But in softball, 60 feet between bases, a ball flying at 70-some miles an hour and taking funky hops. Any given, any day of the week, You never know what's going to happen in softball. Back-to-back base runners thanks to Katie Walling.
Back-to-back base runners, but back-to-back momentum right there. Edwards not able to range over in time. So Northern Colorado, they are more than capable of passing the bat, getting runners around. But what matters most, especially with no outs, can you keep it to the right side of the field? Can you keep it on the ground?
Ella Gonzalez is making her bid to be the Big Sky Player of the Week this week. Sorry, you got 6 hits. Go ahead.
Coots, I'm sure strategy plan-wise is going to be working away from those hitters, working away, trying to get them to give something to their third baseman, give something to the shortstop.
This top 3 has been dominant. None of them have been retired. They are a perfect 3 for 3 with 2 walks, and Gonzalez still pending.
We have a lot of contenders for some awards this week as well. You mentioned Player of the Week. Might have Pitcher of the Week. I mean, that was an absolute gem last game. Just been seeing a lot of good softball here.
Yeah, I think Allie Floyd can already pencil in Conference USA Pitcher of the Week. National Pitcher of the Week. She'll be in the running, though we were just talking about Jordy. There's going to be a couple others. So much great softball going on across America right now here on opening weekend. Easy play at first. Davis and Godwin helping Coots out and stemming the tide of that opening 3.
That probably one of the most effective hits that she probably could have had. Godwin, there's nowhere for her to go except for her bag. Runners advance, and now you have runners on second and third with only 1 out. That's where you want to be for Northern Colorado. Just keep hitting it to that same side.
Matchup going in a very similar spot. In the first inning, she hit with bases loaded. Now it's still 2 runners in scoring position.
Take a look at this defense too. Tight end, you know where they are going.
Now they want that exact same ball to Bloodworth, where she doesn't have to hesitate, just come right home. It's what she did the first time.
As a hitter, I see that. All I think is, how hard can I hit this ball on the ground? It's going to be easier to get it past these defenders with it pushed in.
Never get the chance. Katie Coots hangs another K.
Coots painting that corner. We talked about the pitchers being able to locate their spots, not falling too far outside of the zone once they find it. She's found her rhythm, that is for sure.
Right back ahead of Jaworski, a strikeout victim her first time. Boots working with pace now, starting to feel it. Heads up down there.
Well, Corey, that's what we talked about in the first inning. She is a great pitcher. There's no doubt about that. So if you're Northern Colorado and you have that opportunity, make the most of it. Right now, you have runners in scoring position. You want to make the most of it.
2 Ks in the name, 2 Ks in the inning. Katie Coots goes back-to-back, and both times with 2 runners in scoring position, she has answered the bell. Northern Colorado cannot push one across. The sophomore Coots lock it in 2025. Reminder that sports are better on the big screen. Head to your preferred device app store to download the all-new Flow Sports TV apps for Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, and Chromecast. Set your favorites, search our library of live and on-demand content, and so much more. Download today. Hunt flashed, nothing more. Had a lot of good things to say about the defense of Megan Bloodworth, deservedly so. Now she picks up the bat for the first time in the game.
Oklahoma State got that run across the board, but as we've seen, one run has not been enough in any of these games. Getting a couple more insurance runs, that's always the goal, that's always a point. So if they're them, they know Anna Wilming is gonna provide that off speed. There's gonna tempt them to fall into those slower hitting patterns, trying to get them to reach.
Laid down by Bloodworth. Wilming ran it down. The stretch not going to be enough. Morales thought she had it, but it's a third bunt single for Oklahoma State.
And they have been showing that bunt not only to cause that chaos, but Anna Wilming, she has struggled to field that ball, those bunts. She's typically the first one to that position. Her corners, her catcher, not often getting there before her. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Delgadillo, certainly a bunt candidate. This one goes straight up. The dive, a tremendous effort, and it won't be enough. It's 4 bunt singles.
Quick little dab, but Delgadillo gets that square. That barrelhead just getting a little too flat, causing that ball to pop up. And I think this is a right call by coach. It's obvious that they're struggling fielding this bunt. An adjustment to be had. I would bring in my third baseman. I would bring in my first baseman, shift some things around. Will that create another opportunity for Oklahoma State? Possibly, but you can't keep giving up these bunt singles.
Make them do the more challenging thing, not just stick it out, poke it a few inches ahead, and get on first.
Yeah, this one is honestly just beautiful. That's the kind of bunt that you practice as close as it can be.
Coach Kayeski's just nodding his head. Yep, never a doubt. It's like an ultra bang bang play. He's just sitting there. Yep, no doubt. 10th year head man, 40+ wins in every full year since 2019. Tia Warsop's a bunt candidate. She's done it once already. There it is. Can the Bears get that adjustment? Not just yet. 3 straight bunt singles.
The thing is, this bunt, even though it was bunted very hard, and yeah, she is safe over there at first, even though it was bunted very hard, the speed that you see from Tia, I mean, you can't beat that. And you load up the bases 3 straight. You're looking to get a hit here. Hassler, she's proven herself. That is why she is up this far.
Hassler puts one in the air. Throw home. Just gonna force everyone backwards. So a huge out to finally stem the tide. Hassler not likely to lay down a bunt, is likely to put one beyond the fence. You can say the same about Carly Godwin.
That's the whole idea, is can we get the bases primed? Can we get them juiced? We're heavy hitters that are coming up to the plate. Godwin walked last time. Nowhere to go
Something she
for
said
her
in the
this
offseason she wanted to do a little more of. Take more pitches, walk a little more. If she does right here, it's good enough to score a run. But you have to imagine she's thinking about a little more than that right now. We've already seen 1 grand slam today for Dak and Florida State.
Or the Colorado looking to get
obvious.
out. Yeah, they're looking to get out of this jam. Best way to do it, lull this hitter. She's very patient, but if you nibble around the corners, maybe she'll bite.
Didn't there.
Especially whenever the count's in your favor.
It's where it feels relatively obvious, but there is tremendous speed on the base paths after the 3 straight bunt singles. So even a decent base knock by Carly could score 3. Godwin gets it 5-6. Bloodworth's in. Delgadillo's in. The top 10 freshman a year ago. She still got it. She brings home 2 more for the Pokes.
I mean, just like you said, Corey, anything that gets through the infield with all the speed that we have on the bases for Oklahoma State, they are looking to go. But I want to draw attention right there. You see that runner pause and then get over to third, heads up base running. They know that Anna Wilming, she's not going to be able to catch that and cut it off to throw the girl out at third in time. That is heads up base running. That is creating chaos. Love to see it.
Well, there's an open first base, which means the bunt is back in play, though Rosie Davis sends this one foul. Phenomenal job by both Warsaw and Godwin. The second that throw came in, they each took an extra 60.
And if you're Northern Colorado, you know what the strategy is. As soon as you see that bat square around, you are crashing hard.
And now that's likely off the table. First time in this rush, the bunt hasn't sat.
Nice job by Anna Wilming, knowing she's squaring around, knowing Davis is wanting to get that bunt just a little bit out of the zone, making her chase.
And she does again. Wilming answers the 2 runs with a strikeout.
This is big. We talk often about pitchers building a ladder. This one a little bit farther outside than the pitch before. And Davis not showing a lot of discipline at the plate, and she's chasing after it because of that ladder that Wilming has built. 1 pitch, 2 pitch, 3rd pitch way out. She's baiting her.
Lexi McDonald in search of hit number 1. If she gets it, it scores 2. Further and further inside. This is not a player who's going to swing at pitches that are out of the zone. Oklahoma State's leader in on-base percentage last year. She is more than happy to take the freebies. Rolled up, Myers-Lenz takes the short play. That's enough to do the job. Still, the Cowgirls get their offense going. Who says small ball is dead? The bunt barrage scores 2. Pokes by 3. Order scheduled for both teams. You're nearing the midway point. Katie Coots, 3 so far. Career highs, 5 1/3. Figure as long as she remains effective, Coach Gajewski, Coach Eberly have no issue.
Now in right field, 18, Claire Jim.
especially with Kilfoyle graduating. There's an empty slot to fill. Obviously, there's some transfers, there's some shuffling, there's new players, new teammates, but we may see more and more of Coots as the season goes on, stepping into a bigger role than she had previously. And what a great way to come out and establish that. I mean, she's been doing a great job getting very timely, not only strikeouts, but outs, getting these hitters to wave and give up the bat, which is always a good sign if you're a pitching coach. You want to see that.
Chopped up, Challen sits back. Across the diamond, great pace by Edwards for the first out. I think the fans in Stillwater would agree with the point about there being innings, but the slot that Kilfoyle left, they certainly think is filled by Ruby Malin, who may very well be the next pitcher in this game behind Coots.
Absolutely. We got to see her make the first start for Oklahoma State, game 1, and like you said, she didn't disappoint. Ruby Malin, the transfer from Washington, is incredible, but I think at this point, unless you're a one-of-a-kind pitcher, a lot of times, even if you are a one-of-a-kind pitcher, having a staff just helps. It helps so much in being able to have a well-rounded staff. Not have a 1A, but 1A, 1B, 1C makes things so much easier, especially on Oklahoma State.
Coots in time. Every time she's been asked to field her position, she's done the job. I think that's the difference between a really good team and a great team. Don't get me wrong, once we get to Oklahoma City, you're going to use your 1A early and often, but the ability to offset her just a little bit, that's what wins you a World Series.
Yeah, like you said, great job by Coots fielding her position, staying calm whenever the ball slipped out of her hand. That's what you want to see from a pitcher.
Especially a young one. Longo. First pitch swinging, diving in, and there's a web gem for Rosie Davis. The sensational sophomore says, who cares how young you are?
For UNC at the top of the 4th inning, no runs.
This is just incredible.
Go to the bottom of the 4th. It's Oklahoma State 3.
1, 2, 3.
University
Katie
of
Coots
Colorado.
getting some help. Way against Louisiana Tech, but you knew she would bounce back, and she does so with as good a play as you will ever see in the infield. Full horizontal, keeps it off the dirt, charging forward and ending the inning. Edwards, first pitch hacking, drops it down, and it gets away from Longo. Challen Edwards doesn't need any extra help. Nearly got it again. Stands at second.
I was just about to say as she came up, I feel like every time Edwards is up to bat, we've seen something happen. And of course, before I even get the chance, first pitch swinging, she is after it. A lot of speed on the bases, getting things going for Oklahoma State. We're starting to see that offense come alive consistently, which is always a good sign here in the bottom of the 4th.
Edwards very much a fan favorite as Schneidmiller steps in. Bunt goes right up a chute, and fortunately for Audrey, out of play. And it's pretty easy to root for a player like Challen Edwards. She's gone through a lot. Wants to reclassify, so she takes 7 summer courses to be able to get to Oklahoma State. Is having her freshman year at this level with the pressure of trying to go to the World Series when she should be going to senior prom in high school. Has continued to get better and better, and right now she stands at third base.
And I love this selective mindset from Audrey. We saw it last inning. The bunts obviously worked. Oklahoma State trying to implement it again. And Anna Wilming, she knows she wants to miss those barrels. So whenever they square around, she's not going to give it right to them. She's going to make it tough for them to put those bunts down. So that's where the game strategy, the softball IQ comes into play. If it looks like that ball is moving, pull it back. Don't risk it.
Good block behind the plate by Javo. And if it wasn't enough to be a high Division I athlete, Challen loses her dad during COVID. It's about as tough a thing as you can have happen, as it comes at about as tough a time as we've had as society in a long time. Becomes an outspoken advocate for those with alopecia. So she will wear her scars in life and throughout her softball journey. But boy, is she poised to take another step here this year. And so far, so good in 2025.
Sometimes some of these athletes, they seem so fierce on the field. The stories and what they've overcome and the journeys that they've taken to get to where they are, they're just as tough, if not more.
Schneidmiller down looking. And there's no question. Once you get to know some of these players at the high Division I level, the immense pressure, and you obviously know it firsthand, Nicole, but nobody sitting here and watching, unless you know somebody who is in it daily, what it takes. I mean, it's borderline insane. It's a nice job right there to run and grab it. Miley Morales makes it 1 pitch, 1 out, and Delgadillo takes over.
And again, Northern Colorado starting to come alive. You see the fist bump from Anna Wilming. She's saying, yes, yes, this is what we need as a team. It's time to bring some of that momentum back. But you also are facing a tough part of Oklahoma State's lineup with Megan Delgadillo.
And she watches ball 1.
One thing, as soon as you start to see those hands, defense, they've been crashing in hard. For somebody like Delgadillo, she's able to control that barrel so well. Maybe a little bit of cat and mouse game. I draw you in and I hit it past.
Megan is 2 for 2, both of them bunt singles. So you know that's very much at the forefront of everybody's minds, not quite as much with 2 strikes. Although, honestly, if you're going to bet on any player to do it, Cheese might be the one.
Exactly. You just never know with her.
She'll get the high hop anyway. Myers-Lenz had it a little bit low. The speed of Delgadillo just applies so much pressure. That cashes in Edwards.
Speed never slumps, and like you said, you just never know. This one chopped high just past the glove of Wilming, and even though it was a bang play, her speed makes it impossible for you to regather, make sure you have that time to shuffle. It's a bang play, and Edwards, nice job by her to be able to get over and get in.
And she wants a little bit more, achieves it. Fullerton's stolen base queen has her 5th in this tournament.
5 in 2 days. That is incredible. You know she's going to be aggressive. Everybody knows that she's going to be stealing whatever she gets on base.
Out of the box. Through for both teams, but it is the perfect answer. Reminder that college sports lives here. The ultimate college fan experience is now here. Head to flowcollege.com to watch more than 12,000 college sporting events from 12 different conferences, all in one place. That's perfect. Of course UNC wants to lay down a bunt. That's this game.
Leading it off, shortstop, number 2.
Thought is, if it's causing chaos and creating opportunities, why don't we do the same thing?
This is a throwback ball game right here. A ton of bunts and steals and infield defense, station to station, pitchers coming hard. This is as old school as it gets. Good fundamental defense, also a fixture in that. That left side of Bloodworth and Edwards has been locked in.
Now batting first base, number 20.
Love this. It's a great chop. There's enough height. Just a quick release by Bloodworth, being able to know the speed, know the timing. With a ball that high, you don't have a lot of time to reset your feet. So being able to catch that on our backside and release quick. Now, Corey, I feel like this is going to be a trend that we're going to see not just this weekend, but throughout the season. Maybe not quite as much as we've seen tonight, but short game, I believe, is going to make a comeback.
Sure. What's old
Just
is new
like
again.
People have said, yeah, people have said the 90s are back. I'm saying the short game is back. It's back.
I buy it. If this tournament's
Stand on
any
that hill.
indication, you're totally right. I mean, we've seen a boatload of it. And look, honestly, as the athletes in this game get better, bigger, stronger, faster, why not? I mean, it never died quite in softball like it did in baseball, but still, it definitely kind of went away. The analytics obviously favor the home run, 4 bases instead of 1. But, man, we're seeing in this game, it can work real well for you.
Northern Colorado not going quite into the counts that we saw from them yesterday, having 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bats, which has done a good job of minimizing damage. Even then, that walk, just not a lot of pitches. That keeps hitters guessing. If I don't get to see a lot of pitches, even if I'm not in the box, I'm gonna have to make more educated guesses versus, oh, this is how it goes, this is the experience. Everly out to the
This
mound.
conversation is going to be how to deal with this top 3. Because Morales now 2 walks and a double. Walling, single walk. Gonzalez, the next hit. And in fact, the answer on how to deal with it will be bringing the ace. Ruby Malin coming back in for round 2. A juggernaut opening day performance. And Katie Coots goes 4 1/3, plays some really good softball, and now she'll hand it off to one of the nation's premier strikeout artists.
A lot of love from the fans in the dugout.
A beast in the Pac-12, now transfers to the Big 12. And Ruby Malin, after 9 Ks 24 hours ago, started out against Walling, Gonzalez, and Chacon. Coots got the chance to start the 3rd time through. That walk of Morales opens the door for Ruby to come in. Also bring Hassler in to catch, relieving Schneidmiller, so it's only a half game off for Amanda Hassler behind the plate. And that's pretty interesting. It kind of tells you that in Malin's time in Stillwater, she's developed a really good battery rapport with Amanda Hassler, which is great news if you're rooting for Oklahoma State.
Now batting, third base, 16.
I love the fact that in such a short amount of time, a battery can be able to create that synergy, because it's hard. There's a lot of development and time that has to go into it.
Talk about the impact of having a changeup. But a changeup in the circle like this is just so difficult to deal with. I mean, that's a pair of dots out of the hand of Malin. It's a different look than it was just a couple minutes ago.
Absolutely, and we spoke about this, but having to be able to have a complete staff who on one side is able to dominate, and then you take somebody else and put somebody else in, and they are also able to dominate. It just elevates, and that's what you see right there. That isn't, she's swinging at anything, she's looking all around, doesn't have a game plan. That pitch is so overwhelming to her. She's just trying to react.
Number 13, the designated player, Ella.
When you feel the heat from the fireballer, like you say, it's a perfect way to describe it. Just react. And you get so little reaction time with the velocity that Malin has. But velocity can be turned around, but not far enough. Donald camps under it and closes the frame. So, Oklahoma State turns to the ace and more than gets the job done. Ruby Malin is going to be tough to deal with all year.
3, the Bears, nothing.
Just a few pitches to get it done, sends it out to Tim in right field to close the frame. Anna Wilming remains in the circle for UNC. And she'll have her work cut out for her, starting with the now catcher, Amanda Hassler.
Been impressed by the composure that I've seen from Northern Colorado, their defense, their offense. But I think it really does start in the circle with Anna Wilming, her composure, and the tough moments when it is back to back to back to back bunts.
Yeah.
To, all right, we got a big out, we got the strikeout. She's letting her team know that she has their back.
And you see 4-0 bot 5. Like, all right, Oklahoma State's probably rocketed a couple of balls, some big hard hits, maybe a home run. Nope, a lot of singles, the grand majority of them of the bunt variety. Wilming doing just fine on balance.
Large in part to her off speed, her ability to keep these hitters off balance, keep them guessing.
Goes right to it there.
There it is. I wish I would be as on point with every time I call something. Every time I mention something, there it is, right there.
Well, throughout your career, you probably had a pretty good feel for what pitch was coming. You don't get the numbers you did without knowing that. Right there, it didn't matter. Hassler swings through it.
And that one's a beauty. Again, going back to the ladder, that first changeup over the middle. This one elevated, yes, but out on the other side, almost in the other batter's box. But whenever you get that changeup up in the eye of the batter, your eyes get big, you get that excitement, and you go, oh, there it is. It's really hard to lay off with that pitch.
Right back to the flutter ball, and it drops in on Godwin.
I love the confidence of going back to back to back to back with changeups 3 times in a row.
Worry about overusing it, because if Godwin sits on it dead red, she can hit it well. She hit that well. Long, powerful single for Carly Godwin. She has not been retired in this game.
We talked about her patience and being able to be patient. You get walked in a game that causes pitchers to go, all right, I'm going at this girl, I'm attacking, no more, right? And you throw that pitch a little bit more over the plate than you would have otherwise. That is what she is waiting for. She does a great job of capitalizing on those missed pitches.
So Rosie Davis scheduled to hit. Coach Gajewski will grab a pinch hitter. Vandewater's going to get a second round here in the pinch hit role.
Offensive change for the Cowgirls. Running at first, number 2, Sophie Page.
Sophie Page will also come in and run over at first base.
Also now batting 42, Kara Vandewater.
Seen Vandewater do this once already. Hoping for that first hit. A top 10 recruit with great international experience. Hoping to carve out a role on a stacked team. Difficult as a freshman. Vandewater forcing Gander back a few steps, drawn off the bag. For the first time in her career, Vandewater stands at first base.
Hey, we'll take it any way that we can. Nice job getting the backhand, trying to get it over, just not in time.
And she gets credited with the single.
Her first college hit.
There you go. That one squirts away from Walling. No play to be had. Base is full of pokes.
That one, a hard hit ball. The higher the exit velo, the harder it is, even if you are behind the bag, even if you are playing back. But this one just hit hard enough to cause a second deflection. And whenever you have the speed that Oklahoma State does on their bases, there's no shot. And I think resetting, coming together, you kind of saw the emotion, the reaction after that error, after that bobble from Katie Walling. A little bit of frustration seeping through, and you can see it visible on their faces, not going quite the way they wanted to for Northern Colorado defensively. And as hard as it is, and I know from experience, it is hard to let that go. It is hard to feel like these things aren't adding up, but being able to let that go, reset, and go, all right, does not matter. Let's reset. We're right here, right now. That's the difference between a good team and a great team.
Challenging stretch, too, because other than the Godwin hit, which was well done to right center, those were two makeable plays. Challenging, absolutely, but makeable. Vandewater winds up with the thumbs up on the single and the E5 on Tim's swing to load the bases. This also means that Challen Edwards at the plate represents the potential game-winning run for OSU.
At off speed, no surprise here, especially in this type of situation. If you can slow down the batter, get him to reach out. But Edwards, she's seen quite a few. Seen her sit back, rip a couple of change-ups in my career.
Star is a freshman right here in Puerto Vallarta just a couple years ago. Now an upperclassman ready to take the Big 12 by storm. She's got the ultimate hitter's count.
Saw a little bit. You saw a little bit of a smirk from Edwards. She balked just a little bit. If she had stood in there, she might have gotten hit by that pitch in a free run.
Instead, she pops it up. Challenging run, and Edwards finds the grass. Quinny was on her horse. She will make the throw in, but Challen Edwards keeping it productive.
The flare will always work, and I see Oklahoma State, the base runners, trying to be aggressive, and this one almost gets away from them. But with what she's done in the past with Edwards, it makes sense that this outfield had to be back just a little bit. They have to respect her power, get a little bit of a flare.
Sophie Page gets her first run. They get 5-0. Rachel Hadut's going to come back in, and this Oklahoma State group gets a little bit closer to the starting lineup that we've seen throughout the balance of this tournament.
Now batting, number 1, Rachel Hatkoot.
Hadut watching, ball 1. Coach Bergeron and OSU hoping to end it right here in the 5th.
And the mindset, the mentality that we've seen from Oklahoma State, we haven't seen a ton of power, but it's just enough. How can we get that next runner on? How can we move that runner over? How can we get this defense to feel off balance? And it's tempting whenever there's potential to end the game, and that is right there in front of you. It's in sight. It's tempting to want to go outside of yourself. But as a team, as a hitter, you need to remember what the intention, what the purpose is.
And now Hadut, easier said than done to come off the bench and just take a bunch of pitches. You want to go out there and hack. She's got 3-1.
Bit of a check swing there. It's tempting. It is tempting. Wilming, her off speed, it looks so good. You want to go after it.
And who does, sends it to center. Chuck going at the fence, makes the play. Vandewater coming home and scoring easily. Her first college run. Right on the heels of her first college hit.
Like you said, you're coming off of the bench and you're excited and you're wanting to get that hit. But by being patient, that's the pitch that you get. And you can't do much with that other than tip your hat and say, all right, she was right there, but I'm happy with that hit. And if you're Anna Wilming, you're saying, thank you right there for my defense backing me up. That's all you can really do.
Both base runners taking the initiative. So the game clinching run in Challen Edwards stands at second.
For the Cowgirls, now pinch hitting number 25, Macy Graff.
And Macy Graff will try and be the closer. She'll come in and pinch hit.
And you love whenever your team gives yourself the opportunities, if you're Kenny Gajewski, to have those pinch hitters, to have these hitters come in and get this experience.
Junior Graff, 38 games played last year for the Cowgirls. Started a bunch as a freshman at Mississippi State. Now looking to be the pinch hit expert. But Wilming aiming to extend the ball game. Graff lifting to right with carry. The grab at the fence by Longo. And by a matter of feet, we play on. If Nancy Almaraz Stadium and that fence is a little smaller, it's a walk-off for Graff. Instead, we go to the 6th. Each day. And La Tech will battle Florida State. That was a 6-3 win for the Seminoles in our first game this morning. And then, to close it out, the bookend of a top 15 clash. Oklahoma State, Florida State, round 2.
Now batting center fielder 15, Naya
4-5-6 for UNC, starting with Naya Chacon.
Ruby Malin, her speed and her ability, we know that she has a fantastic rise ball, that movement, that late break. But you mentioned last inning, her off speed, that addition whenever she got to Oklahoma State, to be able to throw that, it's huge.
Velocity can be turned the other way, but once again, the ballpark is big enough. A good retreat by Worsup for the first out.
Like you said, velocity, but also that rise ball, as good as it is, sometimes if you make contact with those balls that are up in the zone, they can go a long way. That's a great job tracking that down, making sure that, especially in the nighttime with those lights, making sure that nothing is left uncovered. Tia, nice job out there.
Javo swings at the first. You can get good contact on a rise ball, I think, is exactly what the pitchers want you to think. Oh, it's good. I got it. This is the one. This is the one. Nope. Under it.
I think I still fall into that category. Yeah, I can hit that.
It's all a collective psyop by the pitching community of softball. This is the one. This is the rise ball. And look, there have been some. That rise doesn't have enough rise, and bang, it's gone. But more often than not, it is trying to get you to swing. When you can change eye level like that, sometimes you don't have a choice.
Up or down, you're telling me it's a conspiracy theory over here. That's what I'm dealing with.
Absolutely. 4 retired in a row for Malin. That's every batter she's faced.
Now batting left fielder number 5, Alina Quinn.
Take by Quinney. Four through 9. Combined 0 of 16. Coots and Malin have been a dynamic 1-2. Which makes you wonder, do you see something similar against Florida State in round 2? They got a great look at Malin, but you're probably thinking the other option is Crandall. Either way, somebody that Florida State can be pretty familiar with.
I like the thought of Crandall,
today,
but as they've shown, there's so many options Oklahoma State can go with their pitching staff. They've really been able to hone in, and I think this week for them is more about how do we manage our staff? When is the best time to bring in them? Do we want it to go pitch by committee? They're establishing it. It's the first weekend, and in theory, there's a lot that they can do, but it's different whenever it comes to application.
Foul territory up and out of play. I think this would be different if this was the Stillwater Regional, where Oklahoma State beat Northern Colorado a year ago. Then you probably would see Malin against a team like FSU. But preseason, Kyra Aycock didn't throw that much today. She is probably in line to start that last game. Went around. What we do know is when Malin in there, she's real likely to get a strikeout. The movement, the velocity, all too much. She's facing the middle.
Nobody left on. We move to the bottom of the sixth.
Colorado, pitching change.
Roy Martinez, the freshman, going to work, just trying to keep this game going. Collegiate debut against a top 5 team.
Number 19, Tony Martinez. Leading off 37, Megan Delgadillo.
And she has to go against the top of the lineup.
But as a freshman, you can take it two ways. It's, man, this is top 5 team. Our team is down. I don't want to be the one to give up runs. I really want to make a great outing. But then the other one is, I'm a freshman. We're playing a top 5 team. We're down 6-0. There are 0 expectations. I just got to play my own game. I'm going to compete, of course, always. But there's no expectations or pressure on me.
Coach P not afraid to have her freshman be forged by fire. It's a 3-hit day for Megan Delgadillo, and she has been on base all 4 times.
Just the ability to keep her hands high through that ball. Again, talk a lot about barrel control. If you're looking and you're a slapper and you're like, who can I follow? Who can I look at? She is one of the best that I have seen just with the barrel control alone. Just the versatility that she provides. This is something that I think Oklahoma State has been wanting to have a piece of.
The freshman needed right away, and it sails by. Oklahoma State puts the game-winning run once again at second base.
Pressure and chaos, it's always headed this way. Big smile though from Tia. She said, well, I got my job done. This bunt.
Amanda Hessler.
Right back to the pitcher, went over the fence. That's why these runners held up.
Martinez going against the powerful Hassler. Floating up ball 1. Like you said, a tremendous day here in Puerto Vallarta for day 2. One more tomorrow. Always a great show from the folks at Triple Crown, which Coach Pendleton Helm is an employee at. She, in fact, started the fast pitch division of Triple Crown in the mid-90s. So without Northern Colorado's head coach, might not be here right now.
Which is crazy to think about how far Triple Crown has come. And in that coach's call, she talked about it with a lot of pride, and as she should, because what this tournament has done, not just for college, but for high school as well. Triple Crown, they really do have a strong presence.
And Pendleton Helm making a huge difference. The reigning coach of the year in the league. Assistant at Colorado State for 17 years. Makes the move from Fort Collins to Greeley. Tremendous opportunity. And her wife, Heather Pendleton Helm. Taught for about 2 decades. Still does at UNC. So an at-home recruiter making all the difference. Fielder's choice, no out to be recorded. And that's the very definition of an in-home visit when you've got your wife trying to get you to take a job.
Close call there, but great job by Delgadillo getting back. Not only is she safe, but now bases are loaded, bases are juiced with no outs. In that power part of the lineup, Carly Godwin, she has had a hard hit every single at-bat this game.
The Hassler run is there for window dressing. If Warsop scores, it's game over.
Great pitch right there. You could see Carly Godwin really wanting to go after that. The active take, the hands wanting to go. Being able to hold up on that pitch is not easy. That was a great off speed.
This is pretty much the dream scenario here for OSU.
Yeah, there's nowhere to put her. You don't want to pitch to her. It's a tough situation right here.
And now she's got the best hitters count. Make it 7-0. Carly Godwin said she wants to walk more this year. She does right there, and it scores a run in the process.
She has been off to a hot start. A lot of walks, absolutely. A lot of hard hits. And, you know, the more patient you are, the better pitches you see. The better pitches you see in drive, the more patient you have to be. So it is in a never-ending cycle that she's put herself into, the best kind for any hitter.
Godwin will hand the bat to her roommate and fellow sensational sophomore Rosie Davis. Davis, the looper, and the grab by Walling. This game continues because Katie Walling wills it so.
An absolute snag made by Walling. This one was drilled. Look at the way that she reaches up and over, and it just perfectly takes her back to the bag. There's no time to react. There's no time to move. And we were talking about what a great situation for Oklahoma State. That's the only thing that could have brought down that momentum.
Tim watching up top. That is the second line drive double play that Walling has soloed in this game, and it's off the bats of Amanda Hassler, one of the strongest catchers in America, and Rosie Davis, one of the best sophomores in America. Looper gets through. Coming across is Hassler, and that'll do it. The Oklahoma State Cowgirls walk it off. The Tim Reaper strikes to close the door. And OSU answers the loss with a short memory and a return to the win column.
That's the best response that you want to see from your team, is coming out hot, fighting, battling. It took the entire offensive lineup contributing. They had chaos, and this is Oklahoma State. This is what makes them so good. Love to see that response from them. Can't wait to watch both of these teams tomorrow. It's more good softball.
Be a quick turnaround for UNC. They have their rematch against La Tech, though it's not a morning game. That's 1 p.m. Central Time. That is our first game of 3. Oklahoma State will try and do more or less what they did on